Nicholas Holscher, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming on to discuss this.
Thanks for having me.
Uh, your initial thoughts, Nick. I don't want to color this conversation. I want to hear directly from you. How do you feel about this announcement yesterday?
I'm very, very angry and very disappointed that we were backstabbed by Albert Bourla and the Trump administration by inking this $70 million deal to expand the mRNA empire of the criminal enterprise Pfizer. Remember what Pfizer has done in the past? They've had to pay up to 107 instances for criminal penalties and other sorts of fraudulent activities, right? So they have a long track record of criminal activity, of lying to the public, of all sorts of terrible things. And so this is just a slap in the face to the entire MAHA initiative. We do not want to see Albert Bourla in there shaking hands with President Trump. We were expecting accountability. We have not seen any of that. Now it appears accountability is completely off of the table.
That's certainly how it seems. RFK Jr. was in that room yesterday, albeit I have to say a couple of stills that I saw of him, he didn't look overly impressed. But at the end of the day, as HHS secretary, he's going to be involved in Trump RX and some of these pharmaceuticals that are being recommended to Americans. Pfizer, Trump made a joke about Paxlovid. Also, side effects involved in that as well. But it's Pfizer. So I'm not really sure where to go from here, Nick. Because it seems like the illusion of MAHA is completely over.
Yeah, that illusion appears to be now collapsing into a black hole, right? Because we know that the Pfizer mRNA shots, based on a study by Florida Surgeon General Joe Ladapo and MIT's Retzef Levi, now on the ACIP panel, they found a 36% increase in non-COVID all-cause mortality among Pfizer recipients compared to Moderna recipients. So we know, just based on that and extrapolating that to the population and how many received Pfizer, that there's been at least 470,000 American deaths in the first year alone directly due to these Pfizer injections. So this has been a catastrophe. It has murdered more people than world wars. I mean, this is crazy. And now we're shaking hands with this man. He should, I mean, this is horrible. This is a bad situation. I don't see really anybody at this point supporting it other than those who might be receiving money from the government to act as spokespersons.
I'm just searching your X right now as we're talking. This post from 15 hours ago, at the time of this recording, 8.7 million people, two landmark studies. mRNA vaccines increase your risk of 7 types of cancer: breast, bladder, lung, prostate, thyroid, gastric, and colorectal cancers. All surge after vaccination. Operation Warp Speed unleashed a turbo cancer epidemic, and no doubt a huge portion of those injections were Pfizer. The problem isn't just Pfizer, of course, it's the shots as a whole. But as you mentioned, Pfizer had worse effects on the population than even Moderna. And how can we stand here and say that Albert Bourla did such a great job when these are the results? Is it let me just play devil's advocate. Is it at all, in any way, shape, or form possible that President Trump doesn't know about these effects?
I think he knows about these effects. I'm almost positive it's been communicated to him many, many times. But now it appears he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. And yeah, those two studies were absolutely huge. They came out in the past few months. One of them came out 2 months ago out of Italy. 300,000 Italians followed them for 30 months. Yeah, increased risk of multiple cancers: bladder, colorectal, breast, all types of cancers. And then we have this new study came out, South Korea, over 8 million people, followed them for a year, and the vaccinated individuals suffered over 6 different types of increased risks of cancers, including lung, breast, colorectal, gastric, thyroid, right? All cancers are being increased. yes, this program, this mRNA debacle has unleashed cancer among America's children, little babies, right? And the adults, the older population, we're now suffering as a result of this. There should be accountability, not protection of any of these criminal enterprises.
Well, it's beyond protection. It's a reward of a $70 billion contract. It's not just protection. We're actually rewarding this behavior now. I'm not sure how we can talk about accountability for anyone else when we're doing that over here with Pfizer. You mentioned cancer, children and cancer. Yesterday, President Trump also signed an executive order on pediatric cancer, which unleashes AI to create a database of genetic information from children with cancer. The AI czar David Sachs says we're going to get some miraculous cures out of this. And my comment on that was a genetic database of children run by AI, and praise for Pfizer, all in one day, good grief. Now, people have challenged me on that, a couple of people saying if there was an AI cure for cancer for children, wouldn't you want to see that? My rebuttal is I don't believe that the same people, as in big tech and big pharma, who did this to us by way of mRNA injections causing cancer, are now suddenly interested in curing cancer. This to me seems like a way to get children on a genetic database, which, by the way, the WEF previously spoke about how if we get a genetic database of everyone, we can exclude them from certain areas of society if their genes aren't what we want them to be. Your thoughts on this as far as curing children, children's cancer with AI and a genetic database?
Yeah, this appears to be yet another scam of pushing gene-based products on innocent people. We know that it's a fraud already. We know it's resulted in millions of injuries and deaths. The very first gene-based product, the COVID shots, and then these ones they're talking about to cure pediatric cancer. These are also likely to be gene-based mRNA injections. They call them cancer vaccines in that Pfizer agreement. So that $70 million will be going to what they call cancer vaccines, to what they call chronic disease biologics, as well as obesity injections, right? So all that money is going to go towards that. And again, this is just another scam. If they really want to stop cancers from propagating and accelerating, maybe they should address the root cause of the experimental genetic product that was given to all of these children, right? They're just sweeping that under the rug now and bringing in their AI savior to come save the day. This is very, very disappointing.
Extremely disappointing. And just one other note on that, if you're talking about creating a genetic database of children, how long before that's mandatory in order to be considered a parent? Like how long before, if you don't, as a parent, give up your child's genetic information to AI, you're considered negligent because you're not potentially, helping to stop your child's cancer, and Child Protective Services comes and takes your child. I can definitely see that happening in future. We have CPS chasing parents for not injecting their children based on religious convictions. Why is that too far of a stretch?
Right, right. We are reaching a point where that will become reality, as well as many other very dystopian things, as AI begins to exponentially advance as each week and month goes by. All of those things will start to manifest into reality. Particularly, what I'm concerned about is they will have artificial intelligence constructs, robotics replacing a vast majority of our workforce, right? So they don't care that we're now injured, dying of cancer, disabled, right? They don't care because they plan to replace all of us with artificial intelligence. And so I think that'll be one of the first very horrible things we see as this develops.
Clearly, the people are not being listened to, Nick. The whole MAHA alliance happened because people really did expect some accountability, or as a bare minimum, to stop these shots. Not, we couldn't even get that. What do people need to do?
People need to speak up. They can't just give in to some sort of hero savior complex and worship anybody just because they've said some good things in the past. When we see actions like this, such demoralizing and despicable actions, we have to speak up and raise our concerns, right? Because that's the only way we can really try and make a difference now at this point in time. Pfizer appears to have captured the executive branch. Now their claws have now sunken into it. These artificial intelligence companies have also sunken their claws into this branch, and they do not have good intentions for the goodness of humanity. They don't care about humans. They want the AI gods to come and replace us, and that's where we're headed.
Thank you so much for your transparency around this, Nick. I really hope that people wake up. That I've heard some rebuttals about, oh, this is how you bring your enemies to the forefront. Give me a break. You don't award your enemies with millions and billions of dollars, and that's how you're going to expose them. No, you expose them by bringing them to trial, for goodness sake. I mean, this is a ridiculous farce, and a ridiculous argument. No, we're not doing 6D wizardry chess. This is a serious problem for all of the people who were mandated and unconstitutionally mandated and poisoned by these injections. And that goes beyond just America. It's worldwide. 17 million minimum dead from these shots. I mean, this is inexcusable. Nicholas Holscher, we want to thank you so much for all of your work. I know you're going to keep pushing to get justice and, as a bare minimum, get these off the market. And we need to keep up that fight. Please follow at Nick Holscher. That's at Nick Holscher on X. And you can also find his work at thefocalpoints.com. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks for having me.